as a territory, we are remembering and honoring the life, legacy, and contributions of the late Honourable Ralph T. O'Neill, OBE, Member Emeritus, who passed on November 11th. He was a teacher, an administrator, and the longest-serving legislator in our Virgin Islands history, who served as Chief Minister, Leader of the Opposition, and the first Premier.
I work with Mr. O'Neill as the Director of the BVI Tourist Board and also as the Director of the BVI London office, both positions he appointed me to. And Mr. O'Neill would listen. He would always ask, what are we going to do? He will ask you. He will never tell you. He will ask you. And then he will listen attentively. And then he would just, if he didn't say anything, that means everything was fine. So he always gave you the ability, the opportunity to put forth your best. He would always allow you to do what you do as a professional. He would never interfere. He would just let you do what you do best. And I had a lot of respect for that. Some persons may say, well, they would insist on having it this way or that way. He didn't insist on that. He just allowed you to be a professional. He just knew history. And we would just wait until he got started. And he would start, and then he would go off into a story. And we would enjoy the story, then he would come back. So there was always a story, there was always a piece of history, there was always something that he can recall in great detail. Hardworking, detail. He worked as a PS would work, he worked as a clerk would work, he worked as whatever he needed to do. He had all of the skills, he had the experience, and he wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty, to dig in and to do what needed to be done. He just had a keen sense of how things worked. He insisted on things be done a certain way. If he ever had to say what he needed to have done, it's only because he had given you the chance. And then he would say, well, in a fatherly kind of way, you may want to consider this. He would never tell you to do it. He'd say, you may want to consider doing it this way. And again, that to me, I enjoyed working with him in that way. Because as a professional, you want to show your talent, you want to do things in a way that is of a certain standard, and he would allow you that space to do that. He had a passion for the history. I knew when he appointed me as the chairman of the 50th anniversary of the restoration of the council. We did a lot of amazing things. You know, the bust at the Let's Go office, that was part of that. Faulkner House in Antigua. That opportunity allowed us to capture so much history of the BVI. And he always celebrated all of those occasions. The 25th anniversary of ministerial government, which Mr. Stow did, but he was part of that as well. The 50th anniversary of the restoration of the Legislative Council. He made sure that we celebrated and recognized our history, that we got a sense of who we were as people. And he always insisted that those things were done to a certain standard. So I think just the way he always ensured that we did things that recognized who we were as a people. And of course, the BVI London office, BVI House, to me is one of his great achievements. That institution is there. I spent 5 years there, 2.5 with him. And just to see him walk into that building on his visits and knowing that it was his vision, it was his decision that put that building there, and to see what it has done to expand the presence of BVI in Europe and in London, and to be an icon of BVI in the middle of London, speaks volumes about his vision and about what he saw, what he felt we as a people needed to do.
The government of the Virgin Islands joins the family and friends of the late Honourable Ralph T. O'Neill, OBE, Member Emeritus, in mourning the passing of this Virgin Islands patriot. Do continue to join us as we remember his life, his legacy, and his contributions to the development of the Virgin Islands.